I remember reading this Taoid, Swampland Flowers, and he talked a lot about conserved energy when you gain power. He said it's not like putting money in the bank. If you conserve energy, you gain power. To me, that always meant thinking, emotion, not getting carried away in all of this, draining your resources with all of this stuff.
So it's another way of saying it. The energy's here. Yeah. How are you relating to it? So yeah, obviously we know from experience, probably in this day and a half, hasn't been very long. Some people have been here longer. That if we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, or our job in the moment, and just caught up in fantasy, I also thought about Saturday, you start to feel drained, right? Because anytime we disconnect ourselves from what's happening, we feel drained. I know I spend most of my time when I wake up in the morning thinking about all the stuff I need to do. And it's not helpful. I wake up, oh my gosh, I have to do this talk, I have to give interviews, oh, I got to make kids breakfast, then I got to school, and then I have to go to the grocery store, and then I have to come back and cook, then my practice. It's so very overwhelming. And we spend probably most of our time in that kind of realm, and we get tired. But I know if I just take care of the moment, then it's fine, the energy's there. I remember, I've talked about this, I like to talk about this during retreat, because it was a solo retreat that I did some time ago. And my teacher had me, he wrote the schedule for me, because I didn't want to write it myself, because I'd probably have too much fun if I did. So he wrote the schedule, he gave it back to me, and I looked at it, and I was very shocked of what he wrote. First of all, there's not as much sitting as I thought. I thought it was going to be like a lot of sitting, Zen. But there's a lot of chanting. And I asked him, why is there a lot more chanting than sitting? And he first said, oh, that's for the demons. I didn't know what he meant until I was by myself. It's like, oh, okay. But also he had me doing 1,000 bows a day. Now, I don't know if I really had a liking for bowing. I do it, and when I do it, I feel great. It's probably like anything else that's actually good for you. I remember when I first started practicing, I was doing a few hundred bows a day in Seattle because I was going through a hard time, sometimes 500, but it's 1,000 bows a day he had on the schedule. And it was 5 times a day, so it was sets of 200. And well, it was really difficult. Especially day number 3, I remember this very clearly. Really, everything is hurting. I'm bowing, my knees hurt, my back hurts, and I start to think about the end of the retreat. This is day 3 of a 90-day retreat. Well, we all have it. Who've sat retreats before, you have this kind of calculator mind. You start trying to figure out things in certain times. So I was thinking, man, this is really hard. And I'm only on day number 3. Which means I have 87 days left. Whoa, that means 87,000 bows left. And when I heard that number, I just gave up. I said, I can't do this. And this is while I'm bowing. That was the funniest thing. It's like this mind fuck we do. It's like it just goes and goes and goes. So I'm bowing, bowing, bowing. And then I go into this realm of I can and I can't. And my dad used to say, well, if you say you can't, you can't. If you say you can, you can. But even I can didn't help me. So I can obviously wasn't helpful. But then I was like, oh, I can do this. I've set many 3-month retreats here at the monastery with people. I've had experience. I can do this, no problem. Then it goes back to I can. Then I can, and I can. It was a nightmare. And eventually, it was draining too. I was getting really tired. But eventually, and Keith talked about this kind of great question, but just looking at it very honestly, I wasn't sure if I could do it. Not sure, but I could do this one. And I just went out of the ground, got back up. Okay. I could do this one down, got back up. And that's how I was able to actually finish the retreat, is putting the energy into that. So it's connecting with the energy that's already here. Using this great question, using the effort, and the faith that we already have this to continue. Any other questions?